Hi, welcome. Good morning. It's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to do a traditional Mexican soup today. It's called Posole. Now, it is typically in the Hispanic culture. It's really made just around Christmas time, and we live in Southern California, so we can get it all the time in November, December, first part of January, and then it's gone. But I love it. I just love it. So I figured out a really killer good recipe. It's nutritious, it's very low fat, if you're watching those little calories in January, which many of us are, and it is just an excellent winter soup. So we're going to go ahead and make Posole. I'm going to start out, I got 5 quarts of water here that's just coming up to a boil. Now the meat is most important. And what you're looking for is a lot of bone because you want to have the flavor. Here I have neck bones that are pork. I have beef bones. And look at all of that marrow that's going to come through. And then I have what in our area they just call Posole mix, which is beef and pork. And if you're doing traditional Posole, you're putting in pig's feet. Now, if that just got you to a point of, I would never do pig's feet, don't do it. Just don't do it. You have options here. You can do this with chicken, you can do it with just all pork or just all beef, whatever you want. But the combination of these meats is absolutely delicious. So, am I putting pig's feet in this? I don't know if I'm going to tell you. Maybe I am, and maybe I'm not, but we'll see, all right? All right, now into this we want to have flavor, which is what it's all about. I'm putting in 1/2 of a large onion. Now I kept the root on there because I don't want onion pieces in here. What I want is the whole onion because we're going to fish it out and get rid of it after it cooks. So that's going to go in. Now I've got 4 cloves of garlic here. What I did, look at this, is I fanned this out. I kept the stem and I fanned it out because I want to get all of the goodness of that garlic in there. Bay leaves add so much flavor. So I'm putting in probably about 4 bay leaves. Then obviously we have to have salt because salt just brings the seasoning of everything out. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of pepper. Now we want some onion powder, which is superb. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of onion powder and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, anything that has all of these amazing flavors, how could it possibly go bad? It can't. So what we're going to do is let this come up to a boil. I do need to stir it. I want to get all those seasonings down in there. I'm going to let this come up to a boil, and then I'm going to skim off the impurities that come to the top. And you know what those look like when you've made soups and you get those little, brown bubbly things around the top. That's just the impurities in the meat. So I'm going to skim that off. After it comes to a hard boil and I skim that off, I'm going to reduce it to a simmer. It's going to simmer for 2 hours, and then I will be back and I will show you how to make the most fantastic chili to go into this, and that's where your flavoring is going to come from. And I wish you could see cameraman right now because he's going, yeah, because last night I made that chili. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was fantastic. So I'm going to show you how to use that recipe in this Posole, but I'm also going to teach you how to use that for 2 other things. So when you learn to make the Posole, you're going to have 3 things that you can make with that chili. So be sure to hang with me, come back. I'll be back in 2 hours. Thank you, bye.
Okay.
All right, well, it's been 2 hours, and while you guys were out lollygagging and doing whatever it is you do, in those 2 hours, I was working my fingers to the bone. Well, actually, all I did is I removed all the bones because I forgot to film. So these are all the bones that I took out. And also I made sure to get in there, and if I had pieces of fat like that, oh, that's the onion, forget that. But if I had pieces of fat in there, I went ahead and got those pieces out because that's not a pleasant thing to eat. So we now have our broth here, which is so flavorful. It is absolutely delicious. We're going to enhance it, and I'm going to use some chicken base here. I use Knorr, which is really it's a really fine product. So I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons. I'm going to bring this back up to a simmer. And then I put in some, I have hominy ready. So I have white hominy and I have gold hominy, and the size can is 30 ounces, okay? So these are the ones that I'm using. Any brand is fine. I have never found a difference in them. But I love hominy, so this is just really, really good. When my son was young, he was really young, and he used to say, "Mom, are we gonna get some of that corn nut soup?" I said, "Corn nut soup? What's corn nut soup?" Well, these look just like corn nuts. Hilarious. So we're gonna put this in. We want the hominy to absorb all of the flavors of that broth. So the hominy is going to be in here for probably maybe 30, 40 minutes, something like that. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the finishing touch, which is make the chili, okay? And that's where the next flavor enhancer comes from. Every step along the way, there's amazing flavor happening here. So give me another 30, 40 minutes and I'll come back. Oh, this is going to be good. Well, the broth with the hominy it's beyond fantastic. It is absolutely amazing. It's probably the best I've ever tasted, and I am so happy with that. That's without the chili. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the chili. So what I have got here is I've got 6 cups of water. I'm going to bring it up to a boil. Now the chilies that I'm using, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Guajillo chili pods, okay? Grown in Mexico. Again, we live in Southern California, so I'm able to get this at one of our local Hispanic stores. But I asked them, and they told me they're readily available online. But I will tell you, the flavor of these chilies was amazing because it wasn't blow your head off hot. It had a bite to it, but it was flavor all the way through. Now, what I have done is I'm going to need about 12 chilies in here. So I went ahead and got these ready, and all I did is I wanted to get the seeds out of them. So simply dig in there, split it open, and once you get the seeds and the vines out, that eliminates most of the heat. The majority of that heat is gone. So that's all you have to do. It's very, very easy, very simple to do. I'm sure you could make posole with any chili out there. I just have not done it with any other chili. And again, if you're looking for a stronger, higher heat, leave some seeds in and leave the veins in. I just prefer not to have them because I'm a little bit intolerant when it comes to heat. So what we're going to do is pop all of these peppers in, and we are going to let them just soak in there. It's going to come to a boil, and then what we're going to do is just let them soften. So they're going to be here for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're going to move on with the other steps. All right, so these have softened very, very nicely, and what we're going to do now is just transfer them into a blender. So what we're going to add to the blender is 1/2 cup of tomato sauce. We're going to put in 1¼ teaspoons of chicken base. We want about 1 teaspoon of oregano. I like to grind it up a little bit more. And then we need 4 cups of water, hot water. I'm not going to use the water out of here because it can get a little bit bitter with these, the chilies and the veins that might have been left in there, whatever. So this is not the water we want to use. We want 4 cups of fresh hot water. So I've got that right here. 4 cups of boiling water is going in. Put our lid back on. And we shall start blending. I'm going to kick it up pretty high because I want it to be very, very smooth. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain it because I want to get any seeds or any little particles of skin, I want to get them out of there. So I want it to be very, very pure. All right, well I put it all through a strainer here, and this is what I did not want in the chili. And you know, if you don't strain it, is it going to make it horrible? Absolutely not. But what it is going to do is, I think, be a much finer chili when you have gotten this much of it out. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that, and then we are going to thicken the chili. So because you don't want it just that watery. So in here I have put in 2 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. And all you're doing here is you're just incorporating and you're getting the raw taste of the flour out of it. And it's going to be a thickening agent for this chili. You only need to do this for like a minute or 2. Now we add the chili. And I'm just going to cook this until it starts to thicken, which will take just a few minutes. Now this makes quite a bit, and if you want to cut this in half, perfectly fine to do that. The reason we do a full recipe of this is because it is so delicious. And what we're going to do is use this obviously for the posole, but I'm not putting all of this in that posole. I'm going to start out with maybe a cup and see how that works. And then we can always add to it if we want a little bit more intense flavor of the chili. But we love this with eggs in the morning. It's delicious. And if you want to do like, the playoffs to these football games are coming up, you guys. Go Chiefs, go Chiefs. And so just this with some chips around a bowl, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And then there is a burrito that I make, and cameraman loves it, absolutely loves it. So along with having this at the Super Bowl, you can use this to top enchiladas, to top your burritos, anything that you want, and it will be fantastic. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I want to incorporate some of this into the posole. This is entirely up to you, how much you want to put in, how much of that flavor enhancer of the chili you want to use. And I'm just going to give this a real little quick taste and see if we think that that's good enough for us. To me, that's perfection. Absolutely perfection. And if you have a heat tolerance, do not be afraid to try this. When you put this into that broth, it is fantastic, really fantastic. So I'm super excited to have made this for you. I hope you'll give it a try. Remember, these chilies, if you can't find them, go online. You'll be able to find them online. And remember, you can cut the recipe in half. I'm going to leave the recipe down below for you so you'll have everything you need down there. And just in case you missed that little thing that I wrote in there, when I got to the hominy, I did rinse it before I put the hominy in. So I just wanted to get all that starch out of it. Other than that, please subscribe and please come back. I love it when we can cook together. And I'd love to hear how your posole turned out, or if you're doing something different, let me know. I'm always open to new recipes. So here is time for the taste test. And typically posole is served with some cabbage on top and some lime. You just squeeze the lime in, just like that. And now we're gonna go in for that bite. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. So you enjoy it. I hope you make it. I hope you enjoy it, and come back. Bye.